Yo, what up? It's your boy Kashi here. Today we are doing a Provoker um guide explanation video. So to start out, I wanna go over talents. And with talents, it's pretty the build is pretty simple. There's not there are a couple different builds that you could do, but I find this one to be the most common because it has the most movement. Um with important like movement abilities being time spiral, um, Dreamflight, and the other the stun breath, deep breath. Okay, and there a lot of people don't run dream breath, and they might not run recall because they're not running dream breath, and that's okay. But I just feel like with the amount of melee right now, I have to have the recall and the dream flight to be kiting efficiently. So this is the build. I'll copy the import like down in the details. Um, After that we'll go ahead and look at PvP stats. Well, I guess we could we'll dive deeper into the trees actually. We'll dive a bit deeper into the trees. So, your main biggest heal is gonna be Echo into Verdant Embrace. Echo in a Verdant Embrace is a lifesaver. When this crits, it can almost like fully heal someone for an insane amount. Because like even just Echo, if you look at the numbers, Echo doubles a spell, right? So and this is 84,000. Like just say 80,000. That's 160,000 heal if you Echo it. Um, which is sick. You could double echo the person you're on. You could echo yourself. All if you're at threes, you would echo all three people, and then do Verdant Embrace. It's gonna give the 80,000 to all of you. Plus, if your main target is echoed, he's gonna get 160,000. So, your main like thing you need to keep up, like you need to be hitting on rotation, is Verdant Embrace. Um, and my friend Zach likes to call your bread and butter is your living flame. So when you're out of when you have no echo, you got no verdant embrace, you've got your reversions up on your targets, you've done use your dream breath, and you're saving your stasis for a big heal or whatnot. Yeah, you kind of just want to spam living flames. Living flame is the bread and butter in between button that you spam when your cooldowns are coming back. So, um, I was kind of ignoring Living Flame at first, and I learned that that was a huge mistake. That Living Flame is a big part of the healing, which you would think would be pretty obvious, but a lot of people um, are like the opposite of that, where they're just spamming Living Flame only, and they're not getting off like echoes into Verdant Embrace. They're not getting double reversions up with Echo. They're not spreading reversions around to the whole team with Echo. They're just single target healing one Living Flame at a time, and that will not work. It will not work. Just some combos that are huge, and just keep in your head that the dummy here is like bugged with reversion, so don't pay attention to my detail numbers right now. It's not accurate. Um, so generally, what I like to do is I always echo me and my teammate when I come out, and then I will hit them with the Verdant Embrace into a big Dream Breath, right? And Verdant Embrace buffs Dream Breath. I don't know if Verdant Embrace buffs all empowered abilities or something. There's something in your build where Verdant Embrace, hold on, let me see if I can see what it is. Here it is. Call of Ysera. Healing next is a Dream Breath increased by 40% and Living Flame by 100%. This Call of Ysera is probably the life force of the build. It actually is what keeps it going, because that Dream Breath is huge. So doing stasis, I'll wait for my cooldowns to come back. You'll usually stasis into a Verdant Embrace. After first you get echoes up, so stasis doesn't save your echo. You can echo after stasis if you have to, but you're not going to be getting as big as of a heal as if you've already echoed them, and then you stasis, and then you verdant, and then you dream breath, and then on the last one, you either living flame or spirit bloom. I suggest living flame, because it could proc. But also spirit bloom is good because the 2-set empower spells increase your version's healing for 50%. So if you're doing your stasis, you hit stasis, you hit verdant embrace, and then you hit the fat dream breath, you're buffing your reversion with the dream breath or the spirit bloom. So they're both good. You could just do the living flame though, but also after saving a double heal in a stasis is also nice, because when you stasis one person, the spirit bloom will still spread like it's 2 charges. So that's really useful as well. I don't see a lot of people doing that, honestly, when it actually is a good combo. It's a good play. Let's talk a little bit more about talents before we go. I think it's really important to run Twin Guardian, because when someone is about, say you have a melee and he's about to die, he's out in the middle of the open, or you got a caster who randomly wandered out in the open or something, Twin Guardian is great because you're going to rescue them, and not only that, you're going to have more time to heal them when you rescue them, because they're going to get that shield, that 30% shield. It is really good. I think that this is underrated. I learned this from the Sea-Doo video. By the way, shout out to Sea-Doo. If you haven't watched his guide on this, you should probably watch that, because it's probably a bit better than mine. But also, because everything I've learned, and I'm telling you, I learned from this video, plus a few extra things just from experience that I felt like he left out, because he's so high skill that he doesn't think about players at the lower level and what they might be experiencing. So I hope this video helps everyone like at that level. I hope anyone that watches this video, they improve. That's my goal. Help anyone improve. So I think it's really important to run the rescue with the Twin Guardian. The Dreamflight recall is super important. I basically never even use Emerald Blossom. I feel like if I noticed that Sea-Doo's bars didn't even have it on it. So another thing is the time spiral. Bend time, allowing you and your allies within 40 yards to cast their major move ability once in the next 10 seconds. I was losing games left and right until I had this, because I was getting trained a lot at lower MMR, and I mean, my highest MMR is still low to probably most of you guys, but in general, I was losing a lot, and I started running time spiral for the extra hover, and I started doing a lot better. So that really helped me out. And if you're struggling with movement, that really helps. Sometimes it's good to spec Unravel. Like you might want to like drop like a Twin Guardian or something for an Unravel to kill some shields or something. You never know. It's a cool shield killer. Anything else in combos and just talents wise? Oh, we didn't talk about PvP talents. PvP talents are pretty locked in for me. I have not been changing them. I don't change them per match really. I think that Nullifying Shroud is a must-go. You gotta have Nullifying Shroud every game. I think that Scouring Flame, you have to have every game. If anything, if I would be to like respec anything, I would probably respec Dreamcatcher. Maybe for Dreamwalker's Embrace, or Obsidian Metal. Sometimes you feel like you're gonna get super silence against rogues or something. I don't know. But generally, I like Dreamcatcher because I like being able to spam Sleepwalk. I don't like having a cooldown on Sleepwalk. I think Sleepwalk spammable, like basically running Dreamcatcher is like having Cyclone. It basically gives you the ability to just spam Cyclone, spam Sleepwalks on people. Same way Boomies just spam Cyclone. So it's really good. I love it. I don't think I'll ever respec it, to be fair. Okay, so that's it for talents. Let's talk about gear and stat prio. I mean, gear is pretty obvious for PvP. You want to just get the honor gear. Like, this far in the season, I think you're kind of wasting your time if you're farming world PvP gear, because it's just not as good. Like, I guess if you want to, like, spend the extra time to do it, just because, like, if you wanted to buy all purple gear, buy your weapons last, you could do, you know, like, 2 weeks of the PvP world quests, and then the world PvP quests, and then like get a weapon, because you have to get the trophies of strife, and a weapon costs 9, so you have to do 2 weeks of this. So I was saying it's not really great if you're grinding and farming. You probably could just farm conch. You just buy honor gear and farm conch. There's no reason to do anything else really other than crafted gear. You definitely want to make sure that you're doing the quest that gives you your trophies, your greater draconic trophy of conquest and the regular draconic trophy of conquest to make your crafted gear. I only have crafted boots right now, but they help a lot for sure. And there's like, you can do, it's not called recrafting, but there's gear that you could do that doesn't have it. There's crafted gear you get that doesn't have embellishments. Like the one that I have has an embellishment, so I can only have 2 like that. But there are like rings that are just like regular rings. They have no embellishment or anything. So you could get them to balance out the stats you want. Say if I had all purple gear and I was like capped out on haste, and if I got rid of my rings, I still wouldn't be under the cap. And then like I could like stack a different stat on my rings, because like from crafted rings. So crafted gear is good for balancing out your stats and meeting the stats that you want to meet. Stat prio, I'm running, obviously I'm running mastery, then haste, or no, I'm running mastery verse and then haste. But I don't know if that's how you should do it. I think that there was something about the mastery build that does more damage, or something about that, and I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I think the mastery build does more damage and the haste build does more healing. I'm playing the mastery build just because I think it's fun. Maybe look into that a bit more outside of this video. I'm not the biggest stat genius, but yeah, I think this build is very fun. I think it is a little bit difficult. I think there's times where having more haste, I could definitely pump out more buttons per second type vibe, but I'm gonna make up for that haste when I get my full purple gear and when I get enchants and gems and whatnot, sockets of gems. My haste will be a lot higher. So see, we're pushing, we're almost at max. We're like only 1,000 away from pushing max mastery. So that's when I'll start building up haste and maybe even lose a little bit of verse, just for, I'll probably keep this verse at 30. You know, I don't know if it will go any higher than that. Okay, basic rotation. So we kind of talked about this with like combos and when I was talking about the talents. When it comes to your basic rotation, I always, you know, start out echoing my teammate and then me, and then I hit stasis, and then when my teammate takes damage, I hit that, I give him a reversion, I hit him with a dream breath, and then I hit him with a living flame, and then when he really starts to take big fat damage, I might hit him with stasis, which gives him a huge heal, and then after that, my next like saving cooldown I'm looking to use, probably, if I don't need a saving cooldown within the time my stasis comes back, then I'll just wait for stasis. But if something bad happens in between the cooldown of stasis, I will use rewind. I avoid using Emerald Communion at all costs. This is your biggest oh shit button. This is your biggest saving CD. It will basically heal you for an insane amount There is a passive that buffs it a lot. Lifebind, that's what it is. So Verdant Embrace temporarily, it's Lifebind. So when you Lifeblind your teammate, you're you're healing on either partner to heal the other for 40% of the amount. So when you Emerald Communion, you get like that 40% bonus if you've done um Verdant Embrace. So one thing I like to do is also Emerald Communion has a good range. It has like a 40-yard range. It's not a terrible range, but it is 40 yards, and there'll be times where I'll be like around a pillar or something thinking I'm healing my boy, and then I'm just doing no heals. So, and you get a fat buff from Lifebind if you Verdant Embrace first. So one thing that I try to keep in mind is if you have to save your buddy, Verdant Embrace, even if you're not echoing it, just so you can Verdant Embrace into an Emerald Communion, because that Lifebind is going to make your Emerald Communion so much better. So much better. Absolutely. In general, I'll just show the rotation one more time. I echo my boy, and then you echo yourself, then you stasis, and then you Verdant Embrace, and then you Dream Breath. And then after the Dream Breath, it's kind of up to you whether you're, if you're playing threes, you might want to double Spirit Bloom. You might want to just, if you're playing twos, you might just spam Living Flames for a minute. So I think it's really important to remember that combo of Echo, Verdant Embrace, Dream Breath. Because remember, your Verdant Embrace buffs your Dream Breath and also gives you Lifebind. So you get Lifebind and a buff on Dream Breath, and it's great. It's huge. And one thing that I kind of suck at is keeping my reversion up. You always want to have a reversion up. In twos, it's a lot easier to keep reversion up all the time because you don't always need it on yourself. If you're not taking any damage, I don't recommend reversioning yourself. You're just wasting a charge of it. I do that a lot. I'll waste a charge of it just because I'm afraid I'm going to take damage. And then I regret it later when, my teammate gets purged or whatever and has no reversion anymore. So I think that in twos, just reversion your homie and maybe save your reversion for yourself for when you know you're for sure taking damage and don't just guess it and waste your extra reversion. Reversion rotation isn't awful. Yeah, the recharge is fast. It's 7.9 second recharge. So as long as you remember to press it like every 10 seconds or so, you're chilling. That is the hardest part for me. I guess I'm just not, like, I never played Resto Druid or anything like that, so I'm not really a huge HOTS guy. I'm bad about remembering to keep my HOTS up. If the Dream Breath wasn't part of the big combo, I would probably forget to do that too, because it's like, it's the big HOTS ability. It does have an instant heal, but it does have huge HOTS, so you just gotta remember Echo, Verdant Embrace, Echo, Dream Breath, and always remember that Verdant Embrace gives you Lifebind and a buff on your Dream Breath. I guess that's the most important thing. Oh, and we talk about time dial. Time dilation is OP. It's basically the it's a wall you can give your teammates. Basically, it's really good. I usually pop it on. It's a very CD, like saving throw CD kind of. Which I haven't been talking about it enough, honestly. As soon as you see someone taking damage, press it. Like if you see someone getting bursted, like Pally does wings or something, you just immediately time dial, and they take 50% less damage. It's really busted. It's really good. I think it's because it's not a heal. I think it's a little bit overlooked, and it's like giving your teammate an extra wall. It's only on a 1 minute cooldown, so it actually is one of the best saving cooldowns for preservation, but I feel like it's a little bit overlooked. because you still have to heal after you put it up, or you're not saving anyone with it. Um, let's talk about good comps. Good comps. You don't want anything that's gonna run away from you too much. Anything that is gonna feel like they're getting chased across the map. Like I don't like playing with hunters. I feel like hunters, they have to be everywhere. I don't like playing with mages. They have to be everywhere. And even though you have a shit ton of movement as Drakthir, you only have a 30-yard range for casting most of the heals and spells in general. So, and then is your Sleepwalk is a 25-yard range, I believe. So, yeah, it is. So, when you got a mage going, blinking across the map where you can't reach him, and he's taking a bunch of damage, and isn't gonna teleport back for some reason or something, you're really scuffed. You get into really scuffed situations. I think that Provoker benefits the most from specs that have really spammable CC. So I think like rogues, I love playing with rogues as a Provoker. I feel like I never have trouble healing a rogue, as long as they're a decent gamer. And I really like playing against Boomy, even though I feel it is a little bit more mobile than me. They get in the bear form and they run around and get across the map pretty easily. I really like playing with any melee, pretty much. I think melee comps are really good for Evoker. I think like a lot of caster comps are just a little cooked on Evoker. It's it's harder. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think most of the best comps for Evoker really come from like 2 melee damage DPS and then you just being a caster healer. There's something about that flow that works a lot better. You don't get pushed as much. You don't get targeted as much. You definitely are gonna want to play with specs that you feel like can easily, CC a healer and help peel for you if you are getting pushed. If you're not getting peels, like if you're getting hard trained by the whole team and you're not getting peels, you're probably gonna die as an Evoker. You could literally press every button and do everything right, and you might still die because you really don't have much to peel off of you. You have stuff to run away, but when they can just when most specs can just chase after you running away, you got warriors with charge, death knights with the grip. There's always a way for a spec to get to you or get you to them, it feels like, in this meta. So peeling is by far, I feel like, the deciding factor on winning my games or not a lot of time. And I don't want to blame that on the DPS, but there are a lot of games that I'll have insane HPS, I'll be doing crazy heals, but if my damage players aren't CCing me, then if my damage players aren't CCing on me to get the people off me, then I end up dying, even though I'm healing them and myself an insane amount. So the one thing you really have to think about is peels and how you're going to get away from people when they approach you. And that not only includes your CC and your movement abilities, but also your teammates have to be aware of what's happening to you. And if they're not, then you probably should just get different teammates or find someone who understands how Evoker works and is willing to do it, has to be done to play with it appropriately. I think overall, if you have a good comp excuse me, I think if you have a good comp that Provoker is S tier, but without the right comp, it can feel like the most unplayable healing spec in the game. Without players CCing for you and helping you get away, it is horrendous. And there are times I hate doing this. There are times I'm getting chased so hard, I'll have to pull someone off of someone else to save myself. Say I have like 2 melees, like this guy's probably gonna be like, what the fuck, in a second. This guy's fighting a guy, right? And I'm getting trained, this guy's fighting a guy over here, I'm like trying to save my fucking life, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I will sometimes rescue someone, to get myself out of a shit situation. So it won't let you rescue a random target, but you get my point. Sometimes I will rescue someone to get myself away, and it feels bad because they might be in a just fine situation. And I've had people get mad at me. They're like, "Oh, why'd you fucking pull me out?" And it's like, I wasn't trying to pull you out. I was trying to get away. And the only way for me to get away, like, I had no hovers left. I have no fucking deep breath. I have no dream flight. I have no landslide. Use your rescue to get the fuck out of there. Target your homie and rescue yourself out. Like, do it. Just do it. And if they get mad at you, just tell them it's like, it had to happen. It is what it is. It had to happen. Let's talk about pros and cons in general. So the pros of this spec are, one, it's got a lot of saving conditions. Like, if we talk about saving conditions, we have stasis, we have time dilation, we have rewind, we have emerald communion, we have like echo into a crit verdant embrace is a saving condition in itself, where sometimes you'll hit that and someone will be this close from dying and then they'll go full health, like it will just max crit and go crazy. So Evoker feels really good in the sense of, like, there's a lot of moments where if your teammate's about to die, you could just insanely full heal them, and it's not completely reliable, but I think more than any other class, I've seen my teammates' health go from this to that, you know, and been like, whoa, I didn't mean to do that big of a heal, but I'm glad it did. I think pros is that another pro is that it does have a lot of good comps. It's not locked into one or two comps only. It can basically do any melee comp, and you can even play with casters. It's just a little bit different and a little bit harder. But I think that is a pro for sure, is that it's not just locked into one good comp right now. You can play with a variety of different players and do well in the arena. Another pro is I would say another pro is just the movement in general. Your movement, if you do the rotation of movement right, you have so much to do to get out of certain situations. Because let's just like start at one spot and then use all the movement abilities and see how fucking far I get, like how fast. So first you could do this. And you could do this. It's moving again. And time spiral for extra hover. Boom. 2, 3. And now I'm kind of out of movement abilities. But, like, look how far I am from the... You could run around a whole arena map with all of that. Really. And I didn't even use recall to, like, teleport back with either of these. You could do a whole dream breath, cross an arena, dream flight, or deep breath, cross the entire arena and teleport back like a mage or something like that. So the movement is absolutely a pro. Great movement. Cons, it feels it feels a little unreliable, I guess is the word, where it's kind of based off of procs and passives, and if you're not really paying attention to those passives like Call of Ysera and Life Bloom, and make sure that you're getting them, you're not going to be doing enough healing in any situation. You have to be making sure you're proccing all of your passives and getting... And that's not really random, but it's like an extra factor you have to think about. It's not just something that will happen if you press random buttons. You have to be doing your rotation in the right order, or you're not getting the maximum heals out. If you don't get that maximum heals out of Evoker, it just doesn't feel like it's doing enough. I think that's pretty much it for cons. I said the movement was a pro, but at the same time it's kind of a con because um it could be really easy if you're getting trained to run out of your movement abilities, it feels like. Which like every class has that. It's not really a con, but it's just something that like happens to me a lot. I guess that's my play style is I panic a little too much and I move too much. And I move too much and the next thing you know I'm out of movement abilities and I'm stuck and I'm getting trained. So I think that one suggestion is to think about the movement kind of like a con in a way. So you're always making sure that you're saving movement in a nice like spread out rotation. Like you don't want to double hover almost ever if you can avoid it. You know, if you could, you would much rather, you know, hit a hover and then go around a pillar a little bit than waste 2 hovers. I feel like that's really obvious, but yeah, the movement is a pro and a con at the same time. So, I hope this video helped anyone that watched it. I really love Evoker. I hope they keep it kind of the way that it is. I definitely think maybe it could be a little bit better. I don't want it to be too overpowered though, you know, I'm not begging for buffs to the point where they make it OP. But I'm really enjoying it. I hope all y'all are enjoying it too. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you. Peace out, guys.